That was my job. Watching screens, trusting timestamps, relying on footage when people's memories failed. Cameras don't forget. They don't exaggerate. They don't imagine things that aren't there. At least that's what I believed before I worked the night shift at the distribution center outside St. Louis, Missouri. The building was massive. One of those logistics warehouses that looks empty from the outside, but swallows entire city blocks inside. Miles of concrete floor, endless rows of shelving, conveyor belts frozen in place like metal skeletons after midnight. During the day, hundreds of workers moved through it. At night, it belonged to me and the cameras. My shift ran from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Quiet hours. No forklifts, no trucks. Just the hum of electricity, emergency lights, and 32 security cameras feeding into a single control room. They told me the job was simple. Watch the screens, log unusual activity, call maintenance or police if needed. They didn't tell me about camera 17. On my first night, the supervisor gave me a rushed walkthrough. He pointed out exits, panic buttons, radio channels. When he got to the camera wall, he paused for half a second longer than necessary. If any camera glitches, he said, log it and move on. Any specific ones? I asked. He shook his head too quickly. No. Then he left. The control room felt colder after that, not temperature-wise, emotionally. The kind of cold you feel when you're suddenly aware of how alone you are. I sat down, logged into the system, and scanned the feeds. Everything looked normal. Parking lot, empty. Loading docks, closed. Warehouse floor, silent. Hallways, still. Then I noticed something strange. Camera 17 was pointed at an internal corridor near the old shipping offices, an area no one used anymore. The image quality was perfect. Too perfect. Sharper than the others. The lighting looked brighter, cleaner. But the timestamp was wrong. Every camera showed real-time footage with accurate timestamps. Camera 17 was running 6 minutes behind. At first, I assumed it was a syncing issue. Servers lag sometimes. I made a note and kept watching. At 11:36 p.m., I saw movement on camera 17. A figure walked through the corridor. I straightened in my chair. The figure was a man, mid-height, dark jacket, hands at his sides. He walked calmly, not rushed, not sneaking, like he belonged there. The problem was simple. No one was scheduled to be inside the building. I checked the access logs. No key cards used. No doors opened. I rewound camera 17. The footage rewound smoothly. The man appeared again, but earlier. Same walk, same pace, same posture. I rewound further. There he was again, always walking the corridor, always alone, always the same. Like a loop. I checked the timestamp again. Camera 17 wasn't delayed. It was replaying something. I logged the anomaly and called the on-call supervisor, straight to voicemail. I didn't like that, but I stayed calm. Warehouses are full of old data loops, cached footage, forgotten software bugs. I minimized camera 17 and focused on the others. At 12:14 a.m., the radio crackled. Control, this is maintenance. I grabbed it. Go ahead. Silence. Then a voice, distorted, wrong. Why did you stop watching? My grip tightened. Maintenance, identify. No response. The radio went dead. I stared at camera 17 again. The corridor was empty now. Then the timestamp ticked forward, and the man walked into frame again. Only this time he stopped. He turned his head and looked directly into the camera. My stomach dropped. I leaned closer to the screen. The image quality sharpened even more. I could see his face clearly, and I recognized it. It was me. Same uniform, same haircut, same tired expression. I jerked back from the desk. My heart pounded hard enough to make my ears ring. I checked the timestamp. Camera 17 was now running 3 minutes ahead. I looked at the live feed from the hallway outside the control room. Empty. I looked at the reflection in the dark screen beside me. I was still there, still real, still breathing. Camera 17 showed me lifting my hand. I looked down at my hand. It stayed still. On the screen, my hand lowered slowly, like the version of me inside the camera had realized something was wrong. I shut camera 17 off. The screen went black. I exhaled shakily and told myself to calm down. Stress, sleep deprivation, visual hallucinations happen. Then the screen turned back on by itself. The corridor looked darker now, and the man, me, was no longer alone. Something stood behind him, tall, thin, unnaturally still. Its limbs were too long, its head angled slightly, like it was studying the camera instead of being recorded by it. The timestamp froze. The tall figure leaned closer to the camera. The image distorted. Pixels stretched. Then words appeared across the screen in plain white text. "You're late." My radio crackled again. This time the voice was clear. It was my own voice. "Control, respond." I slammed the radio down. I stood up, heart racing, and back toward the control room door. That's when I heard footsteps. Not on a screen. In the building. Slow, measured, coming from the corridor outside. I checked the live hallway feed. Empty. The footsteps continued, closer. I locked the control room door. The handle rattled gently, then stopped. The radio whispered softly from the desk. "Camera 17 is waiting." I should have stayed inside. I should have called the police and waited. But fear does something dangerous. It convinces you that seeing the threat will make it manageable. I unlocked the door. The corridor outside was lit by emergency lights, casting long shadows across the floor. No one there. No sound. I walked toward the area where camera 17 was located. Every step echoed too loudly. When I reached the corridor, the air felt different, thicker, like the building was holding its breath. I looked up. The camera blinked red. Recording. I waved my hand in front of it. The live feed on my phone, pulled up through the system, showed nothing. No movement, no me. Just the empty hallway. Then the phone vibrated, a notification from the camera system. Recording complete. I didn't touch anything. I backed away slowly. Behind me, the lights flickered, and I heard breathing, not my own. I turned. The corridor behind me stretched longer than it should have. At the far end, something stood where the control room should have been. Tall, still, watching. I ran. I locked myself back in the control room and pulled up the recording from camera 17. The file had a timestamp 15 minutes in the future. I pressed play. The footage showed the corridor. Then it showed me walking into frame. Real me. Same movements. Same hesitation. The footage showed me stopping, looking up at the camera. Behind me, the tall figure emerged. Then the figure reached forward and placed its hand on my shoulder. In the recording, I turned my head slowly and smiled. A smile I never made. The recording ended. A new message appeared on the screen. "Thank you for checking in." The building alarms triggered at 6:58 a.m. Day shift arrived to find the control room empty. The cameras were normal. No glitches, no anomalies. Except for camera 17. It had recorded continuously all night. The final frame showed the control room. The chair facing the screens. Occupied. The person sitting there looked calm, still, facing forward, watching. The timestamp was accurate. And the name on the logbook entry for that shift was mine. But I never clocked out.